video.
So, 7 years late. Not bad for me, honestly. I've been wanting to discuss Slender the Arrival with you guys for so long, but I felt like it wouldn't have matched the content on this channel. Then I said, screw it. I'm gonna do it anyway. I mean, I literally posted a video on Dead by Daylight, so what's the harm? So yeah, Slender the Arrival. I love this game so much for a variety of reasons. First, I want to provide some background for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about. Slender the Arrival was released on March 26, 2013, with the added levels Homestead and Memories that were released a few months after the initial debut. Sure, this is technically a horror game, and it does have quite a few jump scares. In fact, I still have some of the old spooks from when Dom, Alan, and I played it for the first time over 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, that's too spooky for me.
Stop, feel frustrated.
However, it's more than just a scary game. It showcases themes of isolation, beauty, nature, and even mental health to an extent. I'll explain after I give some backstory on what the plot of the game actually is. Basically, it follows the story of your playable character Lauren, who is on her way to help her childhood friend Kate sell her house after her mom's passing. Once you get there, Kate is nowhere to be found. After some searching, you get that first terrifying scream. Not only does this startle the player, it sets the tone for the entire game. Kate's scream initiates your entire journey, because at this exact moment in your playthrough, the bonus level Genesis is taking place, where you play as Kate in the woods behind her house, collecting the original 8 pages modeled after the first game. At the end of that level, when the scream happens for Lauren, text pops up on the screen that says, "I have plans for you, Kate." And oh, he does, and it's terrifying. But we'll come back to Kate later. Lauren decides to follow the scream and enter Oakside Park to complete her run of the 8 pages, this time on a new and improved map. Despite getting followed and jump scared by Slenderman multiple times, you narrowly escape and wake up in another part of the park the next morning. And at this moment, the iconic Into the Abyss level begins. After what seemed like days, it's finally light outside again. In this moment, you as the player are given a moment to relax. You're given a chance to come to terms with what happened the night prior. You're alone. Normally, one would be nervous to be alone in a horror game, but here you realize for the first time since the start of the entire game, he's not tormenting you or stalking you from afar. Before, there were these tiny instances that reminded the player that you were in a horror game, but here there's only the sound of birds chirping, leaves falling, and your own footsteps. However, that doesn't last long, because eventually you see this monstrosity looming in the distance. That's when you feel your smile fade away from your face. Into the Abyss is probably the most iconic level from the entire game, if I'm being completely honest. In my opinion, the level as a whole was the creepiest and offered the most problems during my initial run-through. Basically, to get to the top of this mountain, you have to power 6 generators and take the lift out of the mines. Not only is Slenderman stalking you during this, but a hooded figure is chasing you too. This is Kate. After completing the 8 pages in Genesis, she was taken and turned into a proxy. Apart from the jump scares, this part is actually really sad. In essence, you lost your best friend to this monster, and it's really depressing. Once you beat the level and get to the top of the mine shaft, you get this. The next morning, although this time it's different from the last one. I think about this moment a lot, actually. You just spent the past 2 nights running away from Slenderman. You were constantly under the fear that he was behind you, lurking in the shadows. You realize you've lost your best friend, yet you get this serenity amidst the isolation. Not only is the soundtrack perfect, but the graphics are gorgeous. You look out above the dense forest and take a breath. Once you take the time to accept that you're by yourself, you can find beauty in it. Admitting to your loneliness kills the exhilaration of being alone. On your way up the mountain with the radio tower acting as your beacon of hope in the distance, you gain some backstory on Charlie Matheson, a missing child turned into a proxy. His family owns a farm in the countryside, and this leads us to the level Homestead. Now, Homestead was pretty spooky all around, however, the real kicker was the cornfield. I actually get chills when I hear the music and know that Charlie's out there. In my opinion, that section alone was the scariest of the entire game. Basically, in this scene, you play as Kate's friend CR, who's also been experiencing hallucinations of Slenderman. He's been leaving a bunch of notes around the game, primarily directed towards Kate. CR has been the one telling Kate to get to the tower because he apparently knows how to end this nightmare, although his method isn't very appealing, as we'll see later on. CR went to the Matheson family farm to gain some more intel on Slenderman, and to see how he came into their lives. It's kinda complicated, but basically, Charlie's grandmother Frida summoned him, but ended up unleashing a monster not only on her family, but on CR, Kate, and Lauren as well. The second tape in the storage outpost shows the perspective of Kate trying to secure her house before Slenderman casually just lets himself in. Then she falls out a window and scrambles to the forest. Across from the TV, once again, the message "Get to the tower" is scribbled on the wall. Lauren narrowly makes it to the tower, avoiding fire, falling trees, and of course, Tentacle Man. Expecting to find answers in the radio tower, she instead finds CR all burned and long dead. A tape recording explains his plan to get rid of Slenderman.
I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I'm so sorry.
He believed there was no way out of this mess, and that killing themselves was the only way out. Naturally, Kate refuses and leaves CR to die alone. The tape ends and Lauren is ambushed by Charlie. She wakes up in the basement of a burned house, presumably the Matheson house, and gets attacked by Kate. Before that, though, you see Kate sobbing, and she appears to be normal before her attack on Lauren. It's like she was fighting the evil within herself. Lauren is then seen being dragged away, and that's the end of the game. I know that was probably difficult to follow, so I made a chronological timeline of the events in this game, so hopefully this helps. Oh, jeez. Frida Matheson summons Slenderman to the material plane. Kate and Lauren spend their childhoods together, but end up moving apart. Sometime in between then and Lauren's return, Kate becomes friends with CR. Charlie gets taken and turned into a proxy, which is the level Memories. Kate's mom passes. CR and Kate start seeing Slenderman again, but are told they're just hallucinations. CR goes to the homestead to investigate the Matheson cases and the origins. Kate covers a room with pages, secures her house, and falls out a window. CR and Kate meet up at the radio tower. CR dies and Kate runs away. Lauren looks around Kate's house, and at the same time, Kate gets taken in the level Genesis. Lauren attempts the 8 pages. Lauren and Kate run into each other into the abyss. Lauren travels up the mountain and watches CR's homestead trip and Kate's frantic sleepover with Slenderman. Lauren makes it up the mountain to the tower and finds a dead CR in his recording, and then Lauren gets taken by the proxies.
Oh, that was a lot.
This game doesn't have a happy ending. A lot of people got mad because there wasn't a clear and concise ending that provided hope for a sequel. However, there doesn't need to be a sequel for this game. They covered most of the bases for their basic plotline. If anything, they should make a prequel going into details on Frida's story, as well as Kate and CR's relationship before Lauren was introduced. But that's just my opinion. I know this video should have been made like 7 years ago, but I still have a passion for this game. It's brought me so many good memories, and I don't really care that this video doesn't match the others on the channel. I had a great time making it, and hopefully you guys can see my passion for this game. So yeah, I know how weird this is, coming back to YouTube after months, and with this out of all videos. Let me explain. I originally had a video planned for months that I was gonna film with my friends over our spring breaks, but then this pandemic struck and postponed everything. We were all set to film too, but 3 days before we were gonna do it, we got the public service announcement saying that residents in the state of California were required to stay indoors under quarantine, so yeah. Slender the Arrival is one of my favorite games of all time, and I decided I wanted to talk about it with you guys. So yeah.
It's been over 2 years and I still don't know how to end a video. Oh.